what's up guys? I'm Amber Cooper and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for those who have been here, been tuning in and subscribed and liking everything. I appreciate you. If you are new here though, please take a quick second, go hit that subscribe button, hit the notifications bell so you don't miss anything. And if you're liking the stuff that you're hearing, hit that like button for me. It lets me know what to create more of in the direction of the type of content and so on. So you're helping me. Thank you. I thank you in advance. So guys, I gotta tell you something. I gotta tell you about this story of how I realized that my five senses were really like direct gateways to my spirit. And it really all started in 2017 when I was at a women's conference. I went with one of my girlfriends. It's a faith-based type of setting. It's at a church and they have multiple speakers that come and share their testimonies and motivation and encouragement for you to live the life that God's calling you to live, right? And I mean, I was newer in my faith, but it was growing. It's just, that was the phase I was in. It was not that the conferences are a phase, but that was what I needed at that time and to help grow me. And so, anyhow, so we're sitting there in the seats and the speakers are coming up and this next speaker comes up. And guys, ladies, we're terrible about this, but I'm going to be real about it. Like, I saw her and I was like, what is she about to tell me? Like, I totally judged her. And she opens up her mouth, says her name. I totally blew it off, had no idea. But she starts talking and I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to make the best of this. And so she says some stuff and I start writing a little bit down and I'm like, oh, okay. And I start chuckling to myself because God was like, He was like, don't you start judging my people. And so she talks and I'm writing a little more and then I write a little more. And next thing you know, like I wrote pages just for what she was saying. Guys, she blew the can open to inspiration in my life. Like totally changed my life, changed the way that I view how I just live. And her name is Terry Savelle Foy. If you've seen any of my previous videos, you've probably heard me talk about her. I love this woman, but I can't lie, I totally judged her in the beginning. And I think it's kind of funny that God will let me remind me of that moment just because it was not one of my finer ones. But I literally, by the time she was done talking, I was like, okay, what was her name again? Like, I need to get this spelling right so I can go and look up all her stuff, buy all the things. Like, I love her. And, she starts everything with Proverbs 18, where she says, the tongue has power over life and death. Yeah, I am not giving you any lip service. Like, the power's in the tongue. I'm sure you've heard this along the way, but it is so real. So, if we're in a position of just listening to what the world tells us we need to be doing, we're going to be sipping our Starbucks in the morning. We're going to be eating all the comfort food, like buying all the expensive gadgets and just splurging and then on all the fine things and then going binge watching our shows just to drink wine all night and talk about all the things that make us miserable. And then we're going to get up, we're going to look around the house, and we're going to be like, I just can't. And I hope I didn't peg anybody. I said a lot of like negatives. I think some of that, I mean, I'm not judging again, okay? Like, I'm just saying, you do all of that at once, you're not gonna be really on a healthy track if you keep on doing things that way. But who am I talking? Because there's plenty of days that I'm like, I gotta do better. But anyhow, just some of the ways that I was able to change my words instead of saying I can't and like just comparing myself to what everything else was in the world and not having the self-confidence that God calls us to have. I had to really just figure out what I wanted, figure out what God was calling me to do, and start speaking positive about it just in my life. I would start using positive affirmations to shake the anxieties that I was living with. I would start speaking life into my dreams and saying as if they were already happening because I was believing God to do them. And I would start to understand the power in praise and worship. Y'all, did you know that when you praise and worship for the things that you have not yet received, that by itself is such an enormous amount of faith? So when you are going through a situation, I don't know, I feel the need to sit on this one a little bit. So when you are going through a situation where it seems impossible to come out of, and it seems like I have no reason why these words are coming out of my mouth besides I have to do something, then wallow in my tears. And you're saying things like, Lord, like you're thank you, like, Lord, you are healing the cancer that's in my body, or Lord, you are delivering us from poverty. Lord, you are taking the taste of that alcohol off of my tongue. You are removing the pain that I remember, the things that I would say or do that would only hurt me. Whatever the things are for you, they can be huge that hold you back, or they can be the littlest things that will keep you in chains over it. And just by giving God the praise and the thanks and the worship for doing it, even if it has not manifested and come to life in your reality yet, that is faith. And if you say it and it's like, gosh, you're just trying to put the sentence together, that's mustard seed faith, and that's all God says you need. That's all he says you need. You give him the little bit you got, you watch him multiply and work the miracles. When we are not in a position to need a miracle, God has a hard time showing us how awesome he is, don't you think? We don't talk about the little stories in the Bible nearly as much as we talk about when Peter walked on water, or when the Red Sea was parted, or when the dead man rose, or when the hem was touched. We don't talk about the little things nearly as much as that. Or when bread and fish fed 5,000 people and it barely would have fed 5. That's how miraculous God was then, and he still is. So when we find ourselves in like yucky situations, it's really, really important that you pull your eyes out of that and start speaking as if God has already delivered it in the biggest way you could speak. And I guarantee you, whatever blessing he gives you, nobody can beat that. Nobody can beat God's blessings. It's just incredible. And anytime you want to say, I can't, or it's impossible, you are setting that tone in your spirit. It's not even just to say, like, oh, I just can't. Like, and I say this sometimes, guys, but like, for real, like, don't do that to yourself, because you can. Because greater is he that is in me. And all things are possible through Christ. God's got you. He's got you, but you got to start speaking it. You got to start using that power that's in your mouth. And just as easily as it is to say something negative, it is so much more powerful when you're doing it with God on your side. So, take hold of that power. Do you, sis. I'm going to do me. Let's encourage each other. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to go make sure you guys are subscribed, hitting the notifications bell so that way you're not missing any more. This is just one of the 5 senses. There are more videos, so stay tuned. Go back and watch them and do your thing. But make sure you're liking the ones that are helpful for you. I appreciate it. Thank you guys. I'll catch you in the next one.